I remember that I was teaching on some of these things in one meeting. The Spirit of God picked somebody from one side of the hall and threw him to the other side. The realm came, and that person was sitting in front, but that person was the fornicator. So when we're talking about the light that purifies, something visited you. You can't be there. They took him from there. You can't sit there. You can't, because now it is no longer an assembly of men. Now spirits of just men have come into the meeting. In the spirit realm, a man who is righteous has the image of God. A man who is righteous does the will of the Father. So it is both about appearance and about action. But over and above that, where your appearance and your action gives you a place in the courtroom. Because every one of us is supposed to have a place where we stand in God. We teach it doctrinally as a nature and as an act. But you see, when time is over, when it is no longer about doctrine and when it's no longer about activities, that's when you understand the full essence of righteousness. Because the full essence of righteousness is where you are standing in the courts of God. Number one, you need to have a spot there. And number two, you need to be able to stand there. When Elijah said, before God whom I stand, there shall be no rain. That is righteousness he was teaching. That's a teaching on righteousness. That I have a spot in the courts of God. And because I have a spot there, I have the authority to manipulate nature. Anything I say, even nature will respect it because of where I'm standing. I'm a prince in heaven. I'm a prince. I'm not just talking to you as one of the many prophets. This man talking to you here, when the court session appear, when the Ancient of Days sit, me too, I stand there. There's a place where I stand. And there are men on earth today who, even while they are yet alive, once and again they are carried to heaven. They know their spot. If you go to heaven today, that's when you will discover what we call spiritual ranking. You will now understand the nature of your ministry. You understand the texture of your ministry. That's when you will know that the reason you are always releasing judgment is because in the quadrant of righteousness, you are standing 10 meters away from Elijah, because you carried certain mantles, and those mantles are transferred from different generation to another. The reason some of you have access to revelation and to doctrine is because in the corridor of righteousness, the entrustment that is given to you as a scepter is revelation. And when you go there, you will discover that in your corridor in the spirit, even Paul is there. You will now understand ranking by dispensation, ranking by the depths of light that you carry, and ranking by the degree to which you serve the will of God. So even though all of us are the same in Christ, in the kingdom, one will stand before the other. And so the reason Paul will stand before you is because he accessed it much more than you. And so when you are talking in the courts of God, we don't talk at the same time. Some talk, others keep quiet because of authority in righteousness. You know, doctrinally, nobody is more righteous than the other. But in the courtroom, it's not so. In the courtroom, there are some who have a better standing than others. So when those ones are talking, others will be quiet. Now, when you are dealing with dominion and kingdom, when we say your garment must be white, we're actually talking about where you are standing. That's why you can say something. Somebody else will say it. One will have more volume than the other. It's not about management or intelligence. It's about righteousness. Because where you are standing determines how far your voice can travel. There are many people who are sponsoring videos on YouTube. Sir, please rest. Believe me when I tell you this. Please rest. When a king looks at you and says, this is my beloved son, in whom I am well pleased, hear ye him. Even if you are not on YouTube, some people will open YouTube in your name. Because what makes your voice to travel is where you are standing. It's more important than what you are preaching. If you don't have a stand there, if you like, preach all the doctrine that is accepted. There's no authority behind your voice. Kingdom dominion. But you see, we are not ready for kingdom. The church is too infantile. So there are many things you can't teach. When you start journeying in the corridor of righteousness, you discover that sometimes it's not doctrine that will take you there, it's suffering. That's why Peter was teaching in 1 Peter 4 verse 1. He said, him that have suffered in the flesh, he said, he have ceased from sinning. That means the power to deal with sin If it's not operating by the law of life, then it's a verdict of suffering that your soul will be chastised so that you are able to keep your garment pure. It will take suffering in the flesh. So you can carry the weight of masturbation for 4 years, but you will die. There is a power that comes upon you that makes you to endure it without going through that affliction. And when you follow through that corridor for 4 years, you will assume a new shape of a spiritual man. That shape is what will make you enter the realm. Christianity is deeper than what we are hearing. This thing called Christianity is deep. It's a journey in the spirit. Right standing. Some of the things you were invoking from Ezekiel 28. When God showed me those dimensions and allowed me to teach them in 2018, my God. Sometimes when you are teaching on those things, then the realm will meet you in that meeting. The realm will come as a witness to what you are saying. I remember that I was teaching on some of these things in one meeting. The Spirit of God picked somebody from one side of the hall and threw him to the other side. The realm came and that person was sitting in front, but that person was the fornicator. So when we're talking about the light that purifies, something visited you can't be there. They took him from there. You can't sit there. You can't, because now it is no longer an assembly of men. Now spirits of just men have come into the meeting. So you can't. You are in the wrong place. The power took the person through as he threw the person out. The person confessed all night the sin, the iniquity, because you can package if it's about excellence, but when you come before the crystals of light, they will judge you. Until mercy speaks and they say remove the filthy garment, you can't sit there. That's when you will know that, oh,